On?
No, it's not.
I have no clue about technical things. Repeat this one. Also useless.
Jai Radhana Dava Kunjari.
Radha Madhava. Mic is not working.
What? Gopi Janavalabha Kirivara.
Janavalabha Givarada.
Yasudhanandana
Yashodanandana
Brajajanaranjana
Yashodanandana Vrajajanaranjana
Yasudhanandana Brajajanaranjana
Yashodanandana Vrajajanaranjana
Yasudhanandana Brajajanaranjana
Yashodanandana Vrajajanaranjana
Yamunatira Vanachari
Yamunatira Vanachari
Yamunatira Vanachari
Yamunatira Vanachari
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare
Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Gauranitai Gauranitai Jaya Gauranitai
Jaya Goranita Hare Goranita Jaya Goranita
Jaya Jagannath Jaya Jagannath Baladeva Jaya Subhadra
Jaya Jagannath Jaya Jagannath Jaya Baladeva Jaya Subhadra
Nitai Gaur Hare Ba Hare Ba Hare Ba Ba Hare Ba Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Prabhupada Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajacharya Astotra Satat Systematic Divine Grace is Confound Acharya Sala A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Prabhupada Maharaj Ki Jai Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajacharya Astotra Satat Systematic Divine Grace Sala Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Goswami Prabhupada Maharaj Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnavina Ki Jai Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Prem Si Kahao Si Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Si Advaita Gadadhara Si Vasadi Si Gaura Bhaktavinda Ki Jai Sisi Radha Krishna Gopal Gopinath Shyamakunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai So Vrindavan Mathura Dham Ki Jai So Mayapanavadip Dham Ki Jai So Jagannathpuri Dham Ki Jai Ganga Maya Yamuna Maya Ki Jai Srimati Tulsi Devi Bhakti Devi Ki Jai Samaveda Bhaktavina Ki Jai Nitai Gaur Premanandi Hari All glories to the Sama devotees, all glories to Sama devotees, all glories to Sama devotees, all glories to Sister Gauranga Ranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Cheva Narottamam Devim Saraswati Vyansa Tato Jaya Mudirayet Nastrapaye Sabhadisu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Sloke Bhakti Bhavaiti Naisiki. So Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 5, Chapter 1, Text 40. The title of this chapter is The Activities of Bharatas Priyavrata. Canto 5, Chapter 1, Text 40 of the Srimad Bhagavatam. 40. So this is the time to utilize this. Is it written on the board? No. Okay. So everybody here, I think everybody has smartphones. Utility is the principle. Use your smartphones now. What's your own smartphone? Very good, Gani. Very good. No, very good. You don't carry smartphones at the temple. Good. Okay. Bhusamstanam kritam yena Sarit giri vanadibi Simacha bhuta nivrite Dripe dripe vibhagasaha Bhusamstanam kritam yena Sarit giri vanadibi Simacha bhuta nivrite Dvipe vibhagasaha. That's on track.
Bhusamstanam kritam yena Harikiri vanadibi Simacha bhuta nivrityai Vipe vibhagasaha
Bhusamstanam kritam yena Sarit giri vanadibi Simacha bhuta nirvrityai Vipe vibhagasaha Sanam Kritam Yena
Saridhi Vaniti
Saridhi Vanadhi
Shimacha Bhutani Vyatyai
Simacha Bhutani Vrityai
Viti Viti Vivadasana
Vipe Vipe Vihadasana
Ladies?
Bhusamsthanam kritam yena
Bhusamsthanam Kritam Yena
Saridhi Vanadhi
Saridhi Vanadhi
Simacha Bhutani Vrityai
Simacha Bhutani Vrityai
Vipe Vipe Vihadasana
Vipe Vipe Vivadasana.
Any more ladies? Okay. Word for word translation. Translation and purport by Divine Grace is confounded charge. Lay C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Prabhupada Maharaj Ki Jai. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Alright. Bhusamstana. The situation of the earth. Kritam. Done. Yena. By whom? Sarit. By rivers. Giri. By hills and mountains. Vanadibi. By forests and so on. Sima. Boundaries. Cha. Also. Bhuta. Of different nations. Nivrite. To stop fighting. Dvipe, Dvipe. On various islands. Vibhagasaha. Separately. Translation. To stop the quarreling among different peoples. Maharaj Priyavrata marked boundaries at rivers and at the edges of mountains and forests, so that no one will trespass upon another's property. Please kindly respond. Repeat. To stop the quarreling among different peoples.
To stop the quarreling among different peoples.
Maharaj Priyavrata marked boundaries at rivers and at the edges of mountains and forests, so that no one will trespass upon another's property. Purport. The example set by Maharaj Priyavrata is in marking off different states is still followed. As indicated here, different classes of men are destined to live in different areas, and therefore the boundaries of various tracts of land, which are described here as islands, should be defined by different rivers, forests, and hills. This is also mentioned in relation to Maharaj Prithu, who was born from the dead body of his father by the manipulation of great sages. Maharaj Prithu's father was very simple, therefore a black man called Nishada was born from his dead body. The Nishada race was given a place in the forest because by nature they are thieves and rogues, as animals are given places in various forests and hills. Men who are like animals are also destined to live there. One cannot be promoted to civilized life unless one comes to Krishna consciousness. For by nature, one is destined to live in a particular situation according to one's karma and association with the modes of nature. If men want to live in harmony and peace, they must take to Krishna consciousness, for they cannot achieve the highest standard while absorbed in the bodily concept of life. Maharaj Priyavrata divided the surface of the globe into different islands, so that each class of men would live peacefully and not clash with the others. The modern idea of nationhood has gradually developed from the divisions made by Maharaj Priyavrata. Vandeham Sri Gurum Sri Yutapadakamalam Sri Gurum Vaishnavam Cha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitantam Sajiva Sadvaita Sarvaduta Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Sri Radha Krishna Pada Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakam Vitanscha. Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Tapta Kanchana Gorangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwa Vishtabhana Sute Devi Paramami Hari Pri Vanchakalpatari Vicha Kripasanubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanam Vande Sri Krishna Chaitanya Nityananda Sahodata Buddhadaya Puspavantu Chitachantu Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadara Sri Vasari Gaur Bhakti Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Ukam Karotu Achalam Pangim Bhagyatim Kunyat Kripatamaham Vandim Sri Gurum Dintam. So, the legacy of Maharaj Priyavrata still reigns. People have to go to study in the university to become experts in survey, town planning, city planning. So all of this knowledge, they are not to be neglected. And sometimes, people come to devotional life and they think that, everybody out there, they are just fools and they don't know anything. We know everything else. You know about planning? City planning? Land planning?
Just information.
Okay. Maharaj Priyavrata was a surveyor. He didn't have a PhD in survey and planning. So this is the natural endowment on the Raja Rishis, because Krishna wants them to function and help to channel people's goals ultimately at the lotus feet of Lord Krishna. But to do that, people have to be peaceful. They have to live peacefully together. Even in the family, if there's no peace in the family, how are they going to be able to come together to worship Krishna? And therefore, Maharaj Priyavrata, it is important, very pertinent here, that he has this type of, highly desired skills. Traditionally, you will have to get experts to do all these things, pay them plenty of money because they studied. They studied this. And Priyavrata, he had the skills. He was endowed with the skills because he has to manage such a vast area of land, a vast territory. And so if you don't have the skills to be able to use in trying to keep things going and have the peace in place amongst the members of your constituency, it could be a difficult thing to govern. It could be because people have different desires, different inclinations, they have different potentials. And also the king has to be, or the expert leader has to be an expert talent manager. So the idea of dividing all of these spheres of property into different sections or different constituency is that he had sons who have to rule all of these different constituencies. And because of the training he gave to his sons, the sons have rose to the platform to the level of Manu. So it's all about the consciousness of the parents when they have to give birth. What type of child you have to give birth to? The collective consciousness of the parents determine the type of child that they will give birth, especially at the time of mating. So, Priyavrata Maharaj is not only just great for himself, but he also invoked very powerful souls into the world. To bring a soul into the world is not the issue. What's the quality of that soul? What do they come to do? And what will be the achievement? And so, Priyavrata was not only to himself, but he was really after his constituency, and therefore he was also involved in strategic planning to avoid conflicts. Conflicts are all over the place. And the reason why there are so many conflicts, especially in neighboring countries, is because of the lack of that strategic plan for the avoidance. The planning isn't there in place, and in some cases there are even no clear documentation about what belongs to which country and whatnot. And therefore someone rises up one day and says, well, this is my this is part of my territory. This is part of my territory. When I went to the Caribbeans, one of these countries, Guyana, Venezuela, they are threatening to invade Guyana, some part of Guyana. They claim that that part actually belongs to Venezuela. So these conflicts are there, and Priyavrata, he foresaw that. And therefore he was trying to take some strategic preventive steps to avoid conflicts. Conflicts are bound to occur. But if we're not prepared to deal with the conflicts proactively, or to prevent the conflicts even before they come, then we're missing the point, because the world, by default, is a place of conflicts, fighting. Ahara, Nidra, Baya, Metunamcha, Baya. It's also indicating fighting. And sometimes people think that the world is going to be a better place in the future. There will be no more wars. Who said? By definition, the world is characterized by conflicts. That's one of the defaults of this material world. And so, we have to understand that there are different classes of people who have to rule. And see, Maharaj Priyavrata is a real Kshatriya. Now, what we have in modern days, people who gain power, in most cases, they are not Kshatriyas. They are Vaishyas. I'll give you an example of America, past president of America, one of the past presidents, former President Trump. He's a Vaishya. So if you put a Vaishya in the place of a Kshatriya, or you put a Vaishya in the place of an intelligentsia, is literally what we will refer to as a square peg in a round hole. No, a square peg in a round hole? So, you see, the so-called leaders of society, they have a long way to go. Yeah. I feel sad for the modern world because, you know, they put it wrong, people in the different unsuitable places. What do you expect? When you put a square peg in a round hole, or you put a round hole in a square peg, a round peg in a square hole, there'll be social misfit. It's just simple logic. Just some simple logic. Okay, so it's just it's amazing. And I'm just a small guy here. What can I do? You are just here, taking nice prasadam and then, coming to hear Krishna Katha and then, purify yourself and then, at the end of this life, you're preparing to go back to God. And so, how is the world going to change? How is the world going to change by this? See, the good news is that devotees are penetrating. In one of the countries that I went, in the Caribbean, the Attorney General is an initiated devotee. Attorney General of the country. Hey, hear this, okay? So, I messaged one of my girls, she just finished her master's in law in London, so I said, hey, here, this country, the Attorney General is initiated devotee. And then, it's a small girl, it's a young girl in her early 20s. She said, yeah, I would also be an Attorney General. So, the point is that we have so much of knowledge, so much of information. But the people who need this knowledge the most are the high-profile people, the leaders of society. Otherwise, we have this wonderful package of knowledge. And therefore, we should also think of how to help in selling this information to people in high places. Yes. And Prabhupada wanted that. Prabhupada wanted that badly, that I remember when I went to one country, I think in Argentina or something. Two countries really. I think Argentina and also in South Africa. I had some programs in the university. And then, the devotee who organized the programs, he told me, in this hall, Prabhupada gave a lecture here. Yeah. Prabhupada will personally go himself into the colleges and universities. So it is important that we understand this package of spiritual culture is not really meant for us to simply keep it to ourselves. If we love the world, we should digest it, we should live it, we should adapt it, and share the same. But sharing with people of high profile status is even very great, because those are the change makers. Those are the policy makers. So like in Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna said, whatever a great man does, the common man follows. Whatever standard he or she sets, the whole world will pursue. So I think that it is wise to also broaden our preaching horizon, to think of ways on how to reach out to the people in the echelon of society. And Prabhupada said that when we begin to see judges put it on tilak, then, is it Prabhupada or Bhakti Vinod who said that? Yeah, Bhakti Vinod Thakur. Then we are becoming successful. So we already have warning. I'm sure there are some in other places, but where I went in the Caribbean, yeah. In fact, I'm supposed to reach out to communicate with that Maharaji, because she volunteered to participate in one of my research projects. One of the research projects I'm working on is corruption in the sonic therapeutic approach to corruption in the judiciary. So the important point is that Priyavrata, he was not only disseminating Krishna's two Bhagavan Swayam. I repeat, he was not only spreading, helping people, helping members of his constituency to grow in Krishna consciousness. He was also giving them social values, civic values, political values. Because people have to live together, there is the high probability that there will be conflict. So preemptively, he is trying to prevent that. He creates some situations, markings, and this is also very dominant. I remember in the U.S. there was some case where one state is claiming that the boundary recordings were not very correct, and so they were to correct it. So this is exactly what Priyavrata did ahead of time, far ahead of time, so people don't argue amongst themselves. This is my property. Even landed properties, there is always fighting. You encroach on my land, or he encroached on my land. And land cases are so prevalent these days, especially because of our cheating propensity. Therefore, to avoid these type of conflicts, Priyavrata took a preventive strategy in order to ensure that the people live peacefully. They know their boundaries. So, states have boundaries. So in some cases, the boundaries rivers are used as boundaries. Some cases, mountains, hills. So why are there boundaries? So that there will be no encroachment. So that someone does not jump into the other person's comfort zone. So if you just leave your life open, which is also good anyway, if you leave your life open, if you leave your life open without certain boundaries, people, you just be in anxiety all through your life. Oh yeah. If you don't set boundaries in your life. And therefore the acharyas have told us what the type of boundaries we should set. We should not unduly mix or feel comfortable in hanging out with people who are not having the same frame of mind in Krishna consciousness. Why? Because when people are within close proximity, there are lots of subtle exchanges that take place that you can't even imagine. And therefore, you start thinking like the other person at some point in time, because of the subtle exchanges. It is one of the reasons why we are told to be careful about the type of setting we feel comfortable with. If the environment is not inspired with Krishna consciousness, it's not Krishna consciously inspiring, we could as well avoid that. Because environment impacts on our values, impacts on our behavior. Oh yeah. In fact, this is not just a religious dogma. Professor Lewin, a German psychologist, in 1938 developed the field theory. You could Google that up on the web. And I studied the field theory also when I was doing my PhD. The field theory stipulates that the environment impacts on our behaviors. So we can say, well, I can just stay in this hotel and I'm fine. You're not fine. It's a matter of time. You cannot be fine. Or you live in a brothel, you can say, I'm fine. Nothing disturbs me. I'm a Paramahamsa. So, boundaries here, right here in our own Bhagavatam, boundaries are created. Would you create boundaries in your life? Or you just live your life open, anything goes? Again, Priyavrata is a good example. Prabhupada also gives comparison with Prithu Maharaj. These are great devotees. But they are not just great devotees sitting down and chanting japa, like how many rounds Lord Haridas Thakur chanted? 300,000. They are not only doing that, they are also very active. Very active. What does that mean? He is doing his prescribed duty, but it's also very serious devotee. What is that? It's called integration. In calculus, integration is like the foundation program of calculus. But even integration could be very abstract. Calculus is very difficult. Anybody here studied calculus in college? Huh? Calculus. Mathematics people run away, okay? Calculus is calculus is one of the difficult areas in mathematics. And the very foundation of calculus is integration. And integration is very difficult. So you see, we are reading and it seems very easy. No, it's not easy. It's not easy to do your duty and at the same time to perform your sadhana, to be a very staunch devotee. We have to have the science of balancing, the science of integration. Otherwise, one may skew to the other side. And a lot of people find difficulties in balancing. So here is a devotee who has the perfection of balances. You see Jagannath, Baladev, Subhadra Kija. See Gaura and Kija. So people have done this. We have to also do it. We have to balance our professional life, prescribed duties. Don't say, well, I do this I'm very busy doing this service, so I don't have the time to chant. That is not acceptable. Balance it. So, any comments? I'm leaving today, this morning. Going to Germany for 16 days or so before going back to the US. Yes, any comments or questions? Yes, please.
Thank you, Maharaj. Maharaja Priyavrata,
Yeah.
he make these borders between area of people with different consciousness. Does it mean so devotees also need some area to live together? Like
That's why you're here. That's why you choose to be in temple.
But if looking for more global, devotees also need some society like Srila Prabhupada, if you want to establish.
Yeah, but
city.
Prabhupada did that. In America, there are communities of devotees. There's one big community in Florida, Alachua. There's another big community in Gittadanga in Pennsylvania. Yeah, a number of. In Canada, there are big communities also of devotees. Because see, the people you hang out with, you imbibe their consciousness. Yeah. So yeah. Yeah, hanging out with people is not the problem. But we also have to understand that, understand the side effects. So yeah, association in the Chaitanya Charitamrita is mentioned about association. Lord Chaitanya also mentioned about association. So we are selective in our association. But then the question could be asked, what if someone is a professional, is working, he or she is not a full-time devotee, is working out there, or schooling, how are you going to deal with that? So, you don't take the association. It's a matter of, you create what Bhakti Vasudeva Swami would call a psychological space. You have to create a psychological space. In other words, you give association instead of you accepting association. See, the mind can create heaven out of hell and can create hell out of heaven. This is the power of the mind. So we can use the mind to liberate ourselves. Oh yeah. So, a frame of mind in one setting might not be ideal frame of mind in another setting. So we constantly have to juggle, have to make shifts here and there. So I'll give an example. I remember one of my professors, she was teaching us psychology of adjustment, and so she says, "Hey guys, so here," she's a female, so she says, "Here I'm a professor, okay? But you know what? When I leave this class and I'm going to the park to drive home, I remove my hat of professorship and put on my other hat of housewife and a mother." She has different hats. She said because if she goes home, she's not going to act as a professor to her husband and to her children. She's going to act as a wife to her husband. She's going to act as a mother to her children. She's not going to act as a professor to them. So what does it mean? It's just a change, adapting, shift of mind. Mind shifts. Yes. Does it make sense? All right. Yes.
I felt like as devotees we have to be very dynamic. Not just have a narrow-minded approach that I liberate myself or I just live independently, but also look for opportunity to grow as persons. And that means that you have to be, it's quite an active life. And especially if you are a person who does a lot in many different fields.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it's a matter of the mind, but it's also not easy. So there can be moments when you tutor your mind, but then your body doesn't keep up with it.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
So, and one thing I realized is that we cannot do it on our own strength.
No.
So where do we derive the strength?
You derive the strength from Krishna. Krishna said he is the prowess in man. If we recognize that and we recline on Krishna, I think I mentioned this the other, or they also I use this same word, recline on Krishna. We do our stuff. We pray to Krishna. I tell you one thing, see, I may give a class, and he asks me, okay, I come to the ashram, and then the next day you ask me, what did you say in the class yesterday? I can't remember. Why? Before I come to give the class, I pray to the days, I pray to Prabhupada to be used as an instrument. It's not me speaking. So it's not like I'm going to an academic conference and then, have to get my things juggled up here and there and then set priorities. This is what I'm going to say. This is I'm going to put it, introduction and background, problem statement, this. But even in academia, you have to rely on some type of intuition. Intuition comes from where? From the supersoul. So, recognition of the fact that we are not the doers. And we consciously take shelter of Lord Krishna and beg him to be used as an instrument. See, the body is weak. We have to rest the body. We cannot cheat material nature. I remember when early days when I joined, I used to sleep 3 hours or 3.5 hours and all these things, and then one day I really felt very, very sick. But then I was so much charged up. I'm going out on Sankirtan. Some people, my friends told me, don't go, Vasudeva, your health is not good. I said, no, I've stayed enough, let me go. So I went. I didn't even get to the bus stop. I passed out on the road. Yeah. Yeah. So, we cannot cheat material nature. Yes, the body can be trained in such a way that we can do things beyond our ordinary, but beyond the average capacity. But still, we need to give the body some time, some rest. If we say, even the stomach, we have to give the stomach rest. That's why on some days we need to fast. Yeah. So yeah, we cannot do anything by ourselves. When I was doing my doctoral program, my Guru Maharaj instructed me to go and do a doctoral program because when he asked me to go and go and preach to professors, I surprised him. I excelled more than what he expected. so he just gave an order, hey, Vasudeva, just go get the paperwork. So I remember when we were doing a course at the Applied Management Decisions. And so we are doing a course on PhD level statistics. It's called quantitative reasoning and analysis. And it's statistics. And I've forgotten when I did statistics last, It was so difficult. So if I want to read the books, I'll pray to Krishna that, hey, I don't know anything here, please help me. You know what? That class, there were 10 PhD students in that class in the whole of the university. And then, because it was a compulsory course. If you're doing management, if you don't get your credits in that course, you have to drop out. So, in the exams, I got the highest mark. We were 10 students. Everybody else failed. I was the only person who passed. And I got 90 plus. Yeah? So the professor, he was a Caucasian, white professor. He fell in love with me. Yeah? But then I knew it's Krishna. I really didn't do anything. Yeah, it's Krishna who just, who helped me out. So we have to recline on Krishna. We have to depend on Krishna and recognize that even our little accomplishments are engineered by Krishna. Krishna said that in Gita. He is the strength in us. So yeah, that recognition has to be there. Okay. Yes, any questions, Mataji? What's your name? Albina. Okay. So, any other comments or questions? If there's no other comments or questions, we'd like to adjourn this meeting.
Jai. Jai.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Maharaj, for visiting us.
You're welcome.
It's inspiring to do this session.
When I finish packing, I'll let one of the students, Daniela, I was working that I said that you don't just see a man, you just see a man. I said you should study